Happening today, another protest in Hartford after a woman was shot and killed by an ICE agent in Minnesota. This comes as Hartford police are now investigating 3 crimes at an anti-ICE protest last week. Your reporter Taylor Knight live at the state capitol with what we can expect today. Taylor.
Well, organizers tell Channel 3 that they are certain that today's protest will remain peaceful and will not lead to violence and chaos like last Thursday's protest outside the federal courthouse here in Hartford, where ICE has a field office. Hundreds were protesting in Hartford on Thursday. Most of them were peaceful and orderly, but Hartford Mayor Arunan Arulampalam says there was a group of people that went around the back of the courthouse and, quote, incited some unrest, clashing with suspected federal agents. That led to a hit and run, pepper spray being used, and a damaged van. Police are still investigating, trying to identify who was driving that van, who was pepper spraying the crowd, and who broke a window.
Still reviewing evidence that comes in. Like any investigation, it takes time to try to ascertain the facts. At the same time, the Department of Homeland Security has not cooperated with us on any of the inquiries we've made, and so that's made it difficult.
Today's rally will be held from 2:30 to 4 right here at the state capitol in Hartford. And in the next half hour, we'll hear from organizers about why they say they need to rally again today. Your reporter live in Hartford, Taylor Knight, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
All right, Taylor, thank you.